Welcome back to the Board Business Channel. Ready to uncover a hidden gem in the world of materials.
Ooh, hidden gems are my favorite. What kind of treasure are we digging up today?
This one's called Eternal Materials, and trust me, you've definitely encountered their products before. You just probably didn't know it.
Okay, you've got my curiosity piqued. Tell me more. What is this Eternal Materials all about?
They're a company most people haven't heard of, but their materials are everywhere. Talking paint on your walls, coatings on your car, maybe even the screen you're looking at right now. Mind blown yet?
Okay, yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing. But how have I never heard of them before? Are they like a secret society of material masters?
Not quite a secret society, but they are a fascinating success story. Eternal Materials started back in 1964 as a small paint and coatings company in Taiwan.
Taiwan, interesting. So how did they go from small-town Taiwan to supplying materials for the world?
Fast forward to today, and hold on to your hats. They've grown into a multi-billion-dollar global giant. We're talking over 25 factories and a workforce of 5,000 people worldwide.
Wow, from humble beginnings to a global powerhouse, that's quite a journey. But what exactly do they make that's so important? Spill the tea.
All right, imagine a three-headed dragon, each head representing a key area where Eternal Materials dominates. Head number one is synthetic resins, those essential ingredients in tons of everyday products, paints, coatings, adhesives, you name it.
Okay, I'm getting the picture. So they make the building blocks for a lot of stuff we use daily. And how big are they in this resin game?
Big, as in the biggest producer of these resins in all of Asia.
Whoa, the biggest in Asia. That's a serious title. All right, what about dragon head number two?
Head number two, special UV curing materials. Think of it like high-tech glue activated by light, creating super strong bonds.
Light-activated glue. That sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie. What kind of stuff is this super glue used for?
It's used in everything from electronics to dental fillings. And get this, Eternal Materials is actually the second largest supplier globally for this technology.
Okay, now I'm really seeing why this company is so under the radar, but so impactful. All right, hit me with the final dragon head. What's the last piece of the puzzle?
This one might be the most mind-blowing. Dry film photoresists. I know it sounds super technical, but bear with me.
Okay, fire away. I'm ready for some tech talk.
This stuff is vital for creating those intricate circuit boards found in almost every electronic device we use. And get this, Eternal Materials is the #1 supplier worldwide.
Hold on, let me get this straight. This dry film is used to make the brains of our phones and computers. And this company I've never heard of is the top dog in that game.
You got it. They're quietly powering the technology we depend on every single day. It's like the foundation of a house. You might not see it, but it's essential.
Okay, color me intrigued. Tell me more about this dry film sorcery. How does it actually work?
Think of it like a high-tech stencil for electronics. It's a thin film that reacts to light, allowing manufacturers to etch incredibly precise patterns onto circuit boards.
So they're like the master pattern makers for all our electronics. Talk about holding the keys to the future. How did they even get into such a specialized field?
They were early adopters of this technology, recognizing its potential before many others. Back in 2003, they made a bold move by acquiring the dry film photoresist division of a company called Shipley.
Wow, talk about a power move. Clearly paid off big time for them. But what drives a company to constantly innovate and take such risks? Most companies would just stick with what's working, right?
That's where Eternal Materials really shines. They have an incredible commitment to research and development. We're talking 3% of their revenue, almost $1.5 billion in 2022 alone, plowed back into pushing the boundaries of material science.
1.5 billion with a B. Now that's dedication. Where do they even spend all that research money?
They even have their own research institute with almost 600 brilliant minds constantly working on new and amazing materials.
Wow, a research institute. It sounds more like a cutting-edge science facility than a typical company.
It's true. And it's this dedication to R&D that allows them to constantly evolve and adapt to the ever-changing needs of the tech world. They're not afraid to explore new frontiers. Which brings me to their foray into SEC.
Wait, hold on. Before we jump ahead, I have a burning question. With all this cutting-edge tech and global domination, what's the company culture like? Are they all serious scientists in lab coats? Or is there some fun in there too?
That's one of the coolest things about Eternal Materials. Despite their incredible success, they've managed to maintain a strong family culture. They truly value their employees and create a supportive environment for everyone.
That's heartwarming to hear. You don't always find that in giant global companies. Got any examples of this family vibe in action?
Absolutely. There was a situation where they had to close one of their factories. Now, most companies would just lay off the workers in that situation, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's often the case. So what did Eternal Materials do?
They took the time to retrain and reassign those workers to different parts of the company. That's not just good business, it's genuinely putting their people first.
Wow, that's impressive. It definitely speaks volumes about their values. Okay, you were about to tell me about their venture into a new field. What's the scoop?
Remember how I said they're not afraid to explore new territory? Well, during the COVID-19 pandemic, they became the first company in Taiwan to get authorization to mass-produce rapid antigen test kits.
Hold on, from circuit boards to COVID tests?
Uh-huh.
That's quite a pivot. How did they even pull that off?
That's the beauty of their expertise in material science. They were able to leverage their knowledge to address a critical global need, proving they're not just a tech company, but a company that truly cares about making a difference. And speaking of making a difference, we should mention.
Wait, before we move on, let's go back to the dry film story for a second. You mentioned they acquired that company, Shipley, back in 2003. Wasn't that a risky move? I mean, big acquisitions can be tricky, right?
Absolutely. Acquisitions can be a gamble, but Eternal Materials knew what they were doing. By acquiring Shipley's dry film photoresist division, they gained crucial technology, expertise, and a global network. It was a strategic move that solidified their leadership in the market and helped them scale up their operations significantly.
So they were already thinking globally back then. That's impressive foresight. It seems like they've always been a few steps ahead of the game. Okay, you were saying something about making a difference.
Right. It's not just about their innovative products and global reach. Eternal Materials is also deeply committed to sustainability and ethical business practices. They're constantly looking for ways to reduce their environmental impact and operate in a responsible manner.
That's fantastic to hear. In today's world, it's more important than ever for companies to make sustainability a priority. What kind of initiatives are they involved in?
They've implemented various programs to reduce waste and emissions and are actively investing in the development of eco-friendly materials. For example, they've been researching bio-based resins to replace traditional petroleum-based products, a huge step toward a greener future.
Wow, bio-based resins. That's incredible. It's encouraging to see a company of their size taking such proactive steps towards a more sustainable future. They're setting a great example for the entire industry.
Totally agree. It shows that sustainability isn't just a buzzword for them. It's a core value that drives their business decisions.
Okay, so we've got innovative, global, sustainable, and caring about people. What's next for Eternal Materials? Where do they go from here?
Well, they've already begun expanding into the U.S. market, and that's a big deal. In fact, we got tipped off to this company by Steve, the executive director of the Arizona, Taiwan office.
Oh, wow. A direct recommendation. What does Steve see in Eternal Materials?
He sees massive potential for them in the U.S., especially as a supplier to major players like TSMC, a global leader in semiconductor manufacturing.
TSMC. Wow. If they're supplying TSMC, you know their technology must be top-notch. Sounds like they're poised to make a big splash in the U.S. tech scene.
Exactly. And with their track record of innovation, strategic acquisitions, and commitment to R&D, I have no doubt they'll continue to thrive and shape the future of material science. But before we get too far ahead, let's take a closer look at one of their most crucial products.
You mean the dry film stuff we were talking about earlier? I'm still fascinated by how something so seemingly simple can be so essential to our modern world.
Precisely. It's a great example of how even the most unassuming materials can have a profound impact on our lives. Let's delve deeper into the world of dry film photoresists and see what makes them so special.
Okay, let's crack the code on this dry film mystery. I'm ready to go full tech nerd here.
I love your enthusiasm. But trust me, you don't need a PhD in material science to understand this. It's actually quite simple. Imagine you're creating a super detailed painting, but instead of brushes, you're using light. That's kind of what dry film photoresists let manufacturers do.
Okay, I'm picturing a high-tech light show, creating microscopic circuits. But can you break it down a bit more? How does the light actually create the circuit pattern?
It's all about chemistry, really. The dry film photoresist gets coated onto a copper sheet, and then they expose it to UV light. But here's the trick. They shine the light through a photomask. It's basically like a stencil with the circuit pattern on it.
So it's like they're selectively exposing parts of the film.
Exactly. And the parts exposed to light go through a chemical change. They become soluble, which means they can be washed away, while the unexposed areas stay tough and resistant.
So it's like a high-tech etching process, but using light instead of harsh chemicals.
It's super precise, which is why it's perfect for creating those incredibly tiny and complex circuits in our electronics.
That's wild. No wonder it's the go-to tech for making our gadgets so smart. So after they wash away the exposed parts, they're left with the circuit pattern on the copper, right?
Exactly. And that pattern sheet then goes through a bunch of other processes to become a full-fledged circuit board, ready to power our devices.
It's amazing how something so thin and delicate can be so crucial to our tech-driven world. It's like the silent hero of the digital age, working behind the scenes to make everything run smoothly.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And let's not forget, Eternal Materials is the world leader in this technology. They've been quietly powering our smartphones, laptops, cars, and countless other devices for years.
It really makes you think how many things around us rely on this dry film magic. It's like they're holding the blueprint to the future of technology in their hands. But how did they get to be such a powerhouse in this field? Was it just luck?
Luck might have played a small part, but their success is mostly about vision and hard work. They had the foresight to recognize the potential of dry film photoresists early on. They saw that electronics were getting smaller and more powerful and knew that this tech was the key to making it happen.
That's some serious foresight. But vision alone can't be enough, right? What else contributed to their success?
You're right, vision needs to be backed up by action. And they definitely put in the work. Eternal Materials has consistently invested heavily in research and development, constantly improving their dry film formulations and manufacturing processes. They never settle for good enough. They're always striving for better.
So they're not just riding the wave, they're actively shaping it.
Precisely. They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And they're not afraid to collaborate with others to achieve even greater innovation. Remember we talked about the Industrial Technology Research Institute of Taiwan?
Oh yeah, that's super smart think tank. Were they involved with Eternal Materials' dry film journey?
Big time. That collaboration was crucial, especially in their early days. Working with the Institute gave them access to cutting-edge research and some of the brightest minds in the field. It was a major catalyst for their success in developing innovative solutions and staying ahead of the competition.
That's a fantastic example of how collaboration can truly drive innovation. It's like combining forces to achieve something truly remarkable. But with all this focus on dry film, aren't they spreading themselves too thin? They have other major product lines too, right?
That's a valid concern, but they're masters of resource management. They have dedicated teams and facilities for each of their key product areas, which allows them to maintain a high level of focus and expertise across the board.
So they're like a well-oiled machine with each part working in perfect harmony. But I'm wondering, does this focus on such specific materials limit their growth potential in the long run? Could they benefit from branching out and offering a wider range of products, maybe explore some entirely new industries?
That's an interesting thought. While they do have a specialized focus, they're not afraid to think outside the box. Remember their pivot to biomedical materials during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, right. They went from circuit boards to COVID tests. Talk about adaptability.
Exactly. That move showed they're capable of leveraging their expertise to address a wide range of challenges. They're not just a one-trick pony. They've got a diverse skill set and a knack for finding creative solutions to real-world problems.
It's amazing how Eternal Materials can be so adaptable and successful across different fields. It really shows their depth of knowledge and their commitment to innovation.
It does. They're not just chasing trends, they're anticipating them and positioning themselves to be leaders in whatever they do. And they do all of this while remaining true to their values. It's really impressive.
Speaking of values, we've talked a lot about their innovative products and global reach. But let's not forget about their dedication to sustainability and ethical business practices. Those are huge.
Absolutely. It's more than just a talking point for them. They're actively working to minimize their environmental impact and operate responsibly in everything they do.
Do you have any examples of that? How are they actually putting these values into action?
They've implemented a whole bunch of programs to cut down on waste and emissions. Plus, they're pouring resources into developing eco-friendly materials, like those bio-based resins we talked about earlier. It's a huge step towards a greener future.
That's awesome. They're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. It's really inspiring to see a company of their size making such a commitment to sustainability.
I agree. It sets a great example for the entire industry, proving that you can be successful and responsible at the same time.
Okay, so to recap, Eternal Materials is innovative, global, sustainable, and they clearly care about their people. What a company. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that Eternal Materials is a prime example of a hidden champion. They're quietly working behind the scenes, powering so much of our modern world, from the smartphones in our pockets to the cars we drive.
It's a great reminder that the most impactful companies aren't always the ones we hear about every day. Sometimes it's the quiet achievers who are truly shaping the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. They're a company with a rich history, a fascinating present, and a future that's brimming with possibilities.
Well, folks, there you have it. Another incredible deep dive into the world of business brought to you by the Board Business Channel.
Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on our next episode. We'll be back soon with another fascinating story from the business world.